Today we're looking at the country that 3 of the top 4 teams on the entire game call home. Always a very popular league, the Premier League has almost every single player face scanned, every team is licensed, promotion and relegation for 4 tiers, 2 different cup competitions, and of course, huge transfer budgets, huge names, and huge clubs, all with real stadiums that combines to make probably the best career mode experience on the whole of FIFA. This year is a bit different to last year. You've got a lot more dynamic situation going on. You've got Arsenal and Spurs in desperate need of a rebuild. You've got Manchester United who have almost done a career mode save themselves by signing Ronaldo and Sancho. Brighton find themselves just 1 point off first place after 6 games when I'm recording this video. Always a popular choice, Leicester find themselves in mid-table, while another FIFA favourite, Leeds United, find themselves second bottom with just 3 points from 6 games. In this video, I'll be talking you through the realistic rules if you want to play the game realistically. I'll be talking you through which teams to sign, where to do your youth scouting, how to keep the save fun, and how to keep it realistic. As always, I've put chapters along the bottom if you want to skip to a certain section, but for now, let's get started straight away with the official squad rules. So, since FIFA 21, some things have changed in English football. Mainly because of Brexit, you're now only allowed 17 non-UK players to be registered in your 25-player squad. So you have 25 players, at least 8 of them have to be from Great Britain, but this also includes Ireland as part of Great Britain just for this rule. I wouldn't count youth academy players towards this limit because most of the time they would have actually been in Britain for long enough to get a British passport before actually playing for your first team. But that's the super easy squad rules of playing in England. There's not really a single team that comes close to failing this rule. Every single team has at least 10 English players you can pick in the 25-man squad, so knock yourself out signing foreign players. If you want to play super realistically, there are actually some work permit rules where certain players have to reach a certain threshold to actually be eligible to play in Great Britain. So to summarise how this works, every single league in the world has its own ranking. Each league is then ranked into different groups. You have tier 1 to tier 8, I believe. Tier 1 is the likes of La Liga and Serie A and the Premier League. Tier 8 is things like the Mongolian Premier Division, where you're not really going to be signing a Premier League player from anyway. The player gets more points the more they play for a team higher up this tier. So if you're not playing for a tier 1 team, you'll actually get less points than if you're a regular in tier 4. I've put the full work permit instructions in the description below, so check them out if you want to play this super hyper realistically, but honestly I would probably just ignore this because if they're good enough for the Premier League, chances are they will be passing the work permit anyway. Moving over to the youth scouting, one of the most fun things to do in FIFA career mode. Of course you're going to be scouting England, but because you're a Premier League team, you'll also have the budget to scout 2 other nations. In terms of the amount of each player that's actually in the Premier League, France has the second most, Spain, Brazil, Ireland, Portugal, Scotland, Netherlands, Belgium and Wales. In that order should be the order you're ranking if you want to have a more realistic squad loadout. If you're, however, someone like Newcastle, maybe you're pretending you've got bought out by some Saudi Arabian prince, you might want to send one of your scouts to Saudi Arabia. If you're playing someone like Manchester United or Liverpool who have a strong Irish connection, maybe skip France, Spain and Brazil and just go straight for Ireland. I'll leave it up to you to roleplay where the third scout goes, but for me, the first 2 scouts should always be going 1 to England and 1 to another nation in Britain. I'm including Ireland in that as well, so possibly you could be going England and Scotland, England and Wales. I'll leave it up to you where you like the players from, but there's a lot of room for keeping things realistic. If you're playing somewhere like London, you could possibly also scout somewhere like England and Nigeria, because they do of course have a lot of Nigerian young players coming through London at the moment. It's totally up to you, make sure you roleplay but always scout England at the very least. Check in the description if you want to see the full list and how many players are from each country. If you want to keep the game hard without using sliders, the next best way to do it is limiting the player ratings of your team. So, for example, if you're in the Champions League, I would say don't sign anyone above an 88. Of course, there's such a small amount of players that are actually above this, but it will keep it difficult if you're not signing people like Lewandowski or Haaland into the Premier League, because of course they would be able to do this. It just makes it a little bit harder when you're playing against someone like Duffy at Brighton and you've got Haaland and Lewandowski up front. If you limit to 88, you do have slightly worse players and you do have to think about it a little bit more because you have a larger pool of players available to you. For the other positions in the table, I would go 85 for Europa League level teams, I would go 82 for the mid-table teams, and I would go 80 for every other team in the league, so that could be anyone from lower table to the relegation zone. So now you know a little bit about the league, but which team are you going to pick? Well, I've actually separated the league up into 6 different team tiers. We've got the title challenges, so this is if you want a very easy save, go for one of Man City, Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea. This has improved from 2 teams last year, which was just Man City and Liverpool, to 4 this year, proving how strong the Premier League and how competitive the Premier League has got thanks to Chelsea's new signings and of course Man United signing Ronaldo and Sancho. If you'd like a slightly harder save, go for someone like Leicester, Spurs, Everton or Arsenal, who are all only expecting to finish in the top 6. As you can probably tell, the top 4 are going to be the title contenders, so then you've got these 4 teams trying to fight for 2 places. This is purely going off their FIFA teams, by the way. I can't see Arsenal actually getting top 6 in real life. The next tier after this is the best of the rest. So these are the teams that could possibly finish in the top 6 if all of those other teams have a bad season. This includes West Ham, who nearly did it last year, Wolves and Palace. They all have very good FIFA teams. So you do have the possibility to overachieve and get into Europe in just season 1 with these guys. If you'd prefer a historic team, there are a couple of options here as well. Southampton, Newcastle and Aston Villa all have good reputations of being famous in the past, although they haven't really done too much in recent years. All of the teams have recently come back into the Premier League, Southampton finding themselves in League One at the start of last decade, Newcastle a bit more recently, and Aston Villa only 2 or 3 seasons ago. Speaking of Newcastle, one of the main reasons they got relegated is because of the financial problems at the club. Well, that makes them a good option for a takeover. So if you do want to start off and pretend that some rich guys bought Newcastle, give yourself a £50 million transfer boost, Newcastle is probably the most realistic team to do this with. They are currently waiting to find out if their takeover can be approved, so this could be a realistic save, and there's of course been rumours of them trying to sign Mbappe in the past. Obviously very unrealistic, but if you want to do it, go for it. Finally, the bottom tier of teams in the Premier League is going to be the Road to Glory teams, so this includes Brentford and Norwich. Both teams, of course, recently got promoted from the Championship. Brentford have a very unique money ball style of football where they try and sign underrated players who are really good in one way. Meanwhile, Norwich do try and do something similar, but they've been recently a yo-yo team, giving them quite a big transfer budget for the Championship, but unfortunately burdening themselves with players who aren't quite Premier League standard, meaning they're gonna struggle to stay in the league this year. If you're a fan of a Premier League team, please do put in the comments any reason that people should use your team, because I know that'd be super interesting for anyone thinking of starting a Premier League save. Finally, we're going to be looking at the stadiums. Now this is a super simple section for me because every single team has a stadium on FIFA 22. You've got some brand new stadiums on the game, like Tottenham Hotspur's ground, which was only built a couple of seasons ago, Brentford Stadium only opened last year, and you've also got some very old stadiums, of course, like Anfield and Old Trafford, that are full of history. So no matter which team you pick, you're going to have a real stadium, and you're going to have a good reason to help the fans cheer while they're in it. And finally, if you are planning on starting a Premier League team and you want to use specific tactics for that team, please do join the Discord, because I know almost every single Premier League team has at least one fan in our Discord. So drop it in there, drop any questions about anything career mode, and join up if you want to speak about career mode with me and quite a lot of my other fans. I think there's about 500 people in there now. Anyway, thank you all for watching this, and hopefully you learned a little bit about the Premier League, how the rules work, and which team is at which level. Of course, you don't have to, but I would love it if you could subscribe if you want to see more like this, and give it a like if you enjoyed the video. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll hopefully see you very soon for a next team or league guide on the Geography FIFA channel. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.